You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
Okay, so hello and welcome back to another episode of Off Screen. And today we're in conversation with comedian. Can I call you that?
Yes, I would most certainly be glad to be called comedian since it's accurate. It's accurate.
I just wanted to check with you if that's a descriptor I should use.
Wait, what descriptor were you planning on
I don't
using?
know, I just wanted to ask you
No, that's a fair descriptor. You don't have to ask a comedian if you can call them a comedian. If you were to say, like, we're here with comedian and, like, ISIS sympathizer, I'd be like, okay, that's a bit much. But,
no, we're not so
you know, you're not that kind of publication.
Yeah.
So, comedian is perfectly fine. What you can say Adonis, you can say whatever you want to say.
Okay,
Any
so
nice
comedian Ashish Shakya, if you haven't realized from the voice already, since it's a podcast.
Correct.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, man.
Okay, so you've been doing comedy for a while, right? Stand-up
Yes.
comedy particularly.
Yes.
And this is something that I was wondering, that why has it taken you so long to do a special?
So, a couple of reasons. Broadly, we started, I think, after Veer. I think we were essentially the first batch of comics to start.
Veer Das.
Yeah, after Veer Das, we were essentially the first batch of comics to start playing around with the form and getting on stage and doing all of that back in 2010 or so. And we did it for a while, but what happened was with AIB going in full flow, essentially you're running a company and that takes up all of your time. You were working crazy hours and there was no time to do
An individual sort of
yeah, individual stand-up, because to do good stand-up it requires a lot of writing, it requires getting up on stage every day, it's a definite proper amount of headspace. It's a full-time job and I already had a full-time job, so there was just no time. So it was kind of a conscious decision to sort of build the company and do that because that was priority. And so there was, I think, between 2015 and 2017, I don't think we even got on stage.
Did you miss it?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's such a thrill to be doing live. You get instant validation, the thrill of a joke landing. It's still the same as it was the first time you got a laugh, and it will still be the same 10 years from now, 20 years from now, hopefully, if I'm still doing comedy then. So that you miss that, and then also what happened was the scene expanded. So in those 2-3 years, after the roast, I would say, when a little bit of a spotlight was shined on comedy across India, it became kind of part of mainstream discourse. So many other good comics came up, and everyone was just knocking out of the park. Everyone was just several levels higher than what we were when we started. So suddenly the bar was set very high, and we left that world, or we went on a break at a certain stage in the comedy world. And when we got back on stage, or when I got back on stage, it was several levels higher. So that was very interesting. And so there was definitely an element of I miss it, and then there was an element of yaar, मैं भी funny हूँ यार. Yeah, मैं भी बहुत टाइम से comedy कर रहा हूँ, मैं भी writing कर रहा हूँ, मैं funny हूँ. I also want, मेरे को भी ego है. मैं भी funny. I want people to laugh at me. Who are all these comedians? There was a bit of ego and a bit of FOMO, definitely. Because everyone by that time had gotten specials and this and that, and I also want. So between those two desires, I think got back on stage around 2017 at some point, and that was also very intimidating at first, because like I said,
not done it
for a while, and everyone else had gotten so good. So I was just like, man, can I do this? Can I still do this? Am I capable of this? So just for a few months, I was just kind of going to open mics, but not performing, just getting in the
zone.
World and the zone, just kind of absorbing, seeing what's happening, just being familiar with the whole room and the process, because not done that for years. And and then
now life is good.
Life is good now, and pushed myself to do it, and
that's what it's called.
That's what it's called. Life is good. That's a show. It's streaming on Amazon Prime if you haven't heard already. And
plugging
you
it
can
in.
absolutely. No, I'm here to plug. Let's be honest about that. Nandakumar, I'm sure you're a nice person. You're a gentleman. Probably sit down and hang out. It'll be fun. But as of now, I am just using you for publicity. It's very transactional.
And I'm here to laugh.
Now, yeah, you're here to laugh and ask me good questions.
So, no, but I was just going to ask that. So, when you're writing this, how do you know that a joke is landing? How do you generally write your stand-ups?
You don't know until the second you try it on stage. You can write 50,000 pages if you want, but they will be worthless unless you try them on stage. Process, it's I think different for different people. You need to be severely disciplined to really do anything in this industry. I am not very disciplined.
Or anything, right? Like you work hard at anything and you...
but with writing, and stand-up, there's a misconception that, oh, लोग सोचते हैं और stage पे चले जाते हैं और suddenly magic बन जाता है. No, not really. It depends. Some people are very sort of, they script to a large extent and they kind of play within those parameters. And some other people maybe script a little less in the sense that they go in with slightly looser thoughts and then work them up on stage. But that's fine. That doesn't matter as long as you're doing it consistently. That's what I meant by discipline. I think everyone's process differs. Mine is a little all over the place, but essentially I try and think of the things that I want to talk about, not the things I should talk about. You know, if I feel like talking about some mundane shit, if I feel like talking about some dumb shit, if I feel like talking about some really personal stuff, that's on me. Yeah. So whatever I feel would be fun to talk about, whatever I feel I have.
It's not the reverse, like, oh, ye chal raha hai, to chalo, let's talk about this, right?
I mean, usme maza nahi
Unless it's something that affects you.
Yeah. Usme maza nahi.
For example, if the Trump elections really affect you, you'll talk about it.
Correct. I mean, that's the way I work. And it can get a little limiting in the sense that, like, on the days when you're not feeling anything, it feels like, oh man, who am I as a person if I can't write a joke today? Main kaun hu? You just go straight there. But yeah, just think about the things that seem interesting or funny or weird or awkward to you and see if you feel like talking about it. You also you want to be, you can't write and perform in isolation. So if you've got to write and perform, you've got to live a little, which means experiences. So, you know, going out, meeting all sorts of people, reading all sorts of things if you can, watching different kinds of stuff. Essentially, I feel like that really helps. I mean, that helps if you're a writer as well, but for stand-up also, you can't just sit in a room for years and go to an open mic and that's your life.
Expect for something to happen.
Yeah, which is why with comics also, you'll see a lot of comics, you'll see how the content matures with time because now life experiences have come in. 20 versus 30 is a lot of life experience. 10 years worth of life experience. 30 versus 40 is like another X number of things you've done. So that's very important. You got to sort of live a little and put all of that into your stand-up. It really helps to have a deadline. It really helps to look at your bank balance and go, oh,
need the money.
Shit.
Monies.
That's the best inspiration, I think. Best inspiration is
the money.
Garibi. Best inspiration is that. Best inspiration is
rent.
अगर मैंने ये नहीं किया तो मैं अपना ये फालतू का exotic lavish lifestyle नहीं जी पाऊंगा.
What is your exotic lavish
नहीं,
life?
हमारा exotic मतलब हमारे लिए
Uber में जाना versus local train, or is it more?
नहीं, but like it's essentially that. My my lifestyle is not glamorous at all, but it's only geared. I spend money on only one thing, just comfort. Like just everything's just nice.
Right.
Just comfort.
Train के धक्के क्यों खाओ जब Uber में जा सकते हो?
हाँ, मतलब ये देखो, and I feel like I can say that without sounding like an
yeah,
because
that's all of us. Yeah.
No, because I've done all this. ये जो ट्रेन के धक्के मैं 34, I'll be 35 like next month. So I've done all of this shit. You know, when I was young, I used to take the train, I used to change 2 trains and come to Prabha Devi. And I've smelled every armpit in Bombay while changing over at Kurla. So I've done all of that. I've felt every briefcase in my ass crack. It's outstanding, that experience. सब किया मैंने. तो हो गया. Yeah, but that essentially
defines your life.
That keeps you going. No, that keeps you going. Because see, you can sit and whine about यार inspiration नहीं आ रहा, लिखने का मन नहीं कर रहा. You can do all of that, especially if you're a freelancer. You can do all of that. But the day a deadline hits you, the day you look at your balance and go, you know what, I want to do so many things and I don't have so
The
much
motivation
money.
just comes in.
Yeah, फिर आ जाएगा.
But how do you view the current scenario for comedy? Okay, I ask this because first of all, everyone seems to get offended at the drop of a hat.
Huh.
But at the same time, we're also in a time where people don't want to further a prejudice or some kind of negative stereotype.
Which is great.
How do you find a balance in that? What would you do?
I feel like every comedian draws their own personal line. I don't think there is one line that everyone should adhere to. Everyone draws their own personal line, and that keeps changing depending on how you grow as a person. Something you think was funny 10 years ago may not be funny to you now. You see why it was not funny or why it was incorrect, and so on and so forth, and you get to define that. The trade-off is you get to define your line and the audience gets to define theirs. So you can be in the right, you can say, I love this, I want to talk about this, even though it's dark, might be offensive, whatever. If the audience says, mere ko nahi sunna hai, then that's your trade-off. If you are doing a thing where through your comedy you're furthering a prejudice, for example, what we call punching down, if you are doing that and you are insistent on doing that, that's fine. That's on you. As a comic, you have the right to make that choice.
And people don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the right to make the choice, and people have the right to go, you know what, I don't like this, it's not for me. And if it was just that, it would be great. The problem is you say something and people are like, I don't like it, tera ghar jala dete. And you're like, okay, I think that's a bit much.
This kind of polarizing response happened to you particularly with the roast, right? Like, I mean, this kind of thing where it was like, oh, okay, like...
I feel like there's a misconception about that. The scale of polarization there is extremely amplified because that's how we consume news. With the roast, I'll specifically tell you that when people watched it, I can be confident that most people liked it. Even if they didn't like some of it or all of it, most people who didn't like it also, they moved on with their lives quietly. They were like, kaam khatam, channel change, whatever. But it's a very, very small minority that gets vocal and makes noise, and that becomes a headline, because that's how headlines are made. Nobody will read a headline that says comedians release show, all is well. That's not a headline.
Comedians release show, FIR filed.
Comedians release show, FIR filed, nation in outrage, desh ka kalank, how dare they, are there limits to free speech,
it's so
are there
funny,
limits
but
to
I've
comedy?
seen the question being asked to every star. Like Kareena Kapoor will get asked, what do you think about the roast? Someone else will get asked, what do you think about the roast? So it became like one of those things.
So people play up the scale of how much people were angered by it. It was a very small group of people, and essentially this is what we learned then, and which you have seen since throughout. Any time Bollywood is involved, it becomes news.
That much more.
The reason it became news was because Bollywood A-listers were involved. I don't also get this sentiment of all jokes by all comedians must be acceptable to all parties at all of the time. That makes no sense. So you go to watch movies. Do you like all movies? No. Some of them are bad, some of them are boring, some of them are whatever. You don't like them.
But then people have a conversation about that also, right? I mean, now everyone's having a conversation about everything.
No. But there is way less forgiveness with
a comedian?
Comedians, because people are like, अच्छा था लेकिन ये joke क्यों मारा रे? तो ठीक है ना, नहीं अच्छा लगा तेरे को, ठीक है. Picture में कभी भी गाना तेरे को नहीं अच्छा लगता, बाकी picture अच्छा लगा, देख. नहीं अच्छा लगा, theater के बाहर जा, like leave. I'll tell you my line, okay? So I don't have the broad line you try and follow is punching up versus punching down. That's a concept I think that's been talked about a lot. I'm sure you're aware of it. Basically, punching up means, for people who are listening, if you don't know, punching up means you can tackle a complex issue, but you make fun of the person in power or the system that perpetrates the issue, not of the victim, which would be punching down. That's a broad metric we like to follow. I follow that not because I have to.
That's what you feel.
Because, I feel like I am comfortable in that space. I can absolutely make a shock joke about a marginalized community. It's not difficult to make those jokes. And some comics do play a lot in shock value. But personally, that's not my style. Like, if I did that, I can. Because I feel like I can write most things. मेरे को उतना talent है. I can write most things. Like, it's adapting into a mold, skill set is same. I can write most things, so I can write that kind of joke, I can perform that kind of joke. it would not be my honest voice. So yeah, there would be shock value, may get a laugh, may not, haha, whatever. I would not do it because it would not be me.
Like moving on, do you feel like say what happened with AIB and the whole dissolving, etc., had affected the way you were approaching comedy or what you had to do after that, because you had nothing to do with it?
So couple of things. AIB is not dissolved. The YouTube channel is on a pause because we're not putting any stuff out there right now. But YouTube channel is on a pause. But I would definitely not say that it's dissolved. We've produced a film that has been doing the rounds of so many festivals. It's been getting a lot of acclaim. Chintuka birthday. There's lots in the pipeline, and yeah. So I would not say we are dissolved as such. There's a lot of that happening. It's that we're not doing the sketches like we used to. With regards to how that changed my personal comedy, so when it happened, 2018, I was already, with regards to this special Life is Good, I was already a year into touring it. But because I still had to go to office, etc., I was not doing it like, full time as such. I was not just sitting down and writing jokes 5-6 days a week. But I had already been going to open mics over the last year and a half, so I had accumulated enough to do a trial and also it was already taking shape. So I didn't have to go from, we don't have an office team anymore, I should start doing stand-up. I was already doing, I was already on stage in like early or 2017. I started getting on stage, so that process was still in place. And
do you feel like people had?
And then once you the process was in place, and then after a point, it was just okay. Here's the thing I'm enjoying doing. Here's the thing that's available to do, and while the company sorts itself out, I'm not going to just sit at home and mope. I enjoy doing this. It makes me happy, and मैं क्यों चुप के बैठूं?
Do you feel like you had to fight some sort of negative perception?
I guess I don't personally. I don't know how big that perception was, because if you are going to be glued to Twitter all day, you're going to have a disproportionate sense of that perception. It's going to feel like the entire world is against you. And if you just close Twitter and get out in the real world, it does not feel.
Is that what you've done? I checked your Twitter account because I just wanted to see. You've not tweeted in a long time.
I haven't tweeted properly, actively for more than 2-3 years, something like that.
Yeah, 2018 last.
No, 2018. वो तो statement देखा होगा तुमने. But उसके पहले भी, before all of this happened, even then I was very mildly active on Twitter. I started petering off on Twitter 2015 onwards. It was just the occasional joke and a show update. Here देखो ये release किया हमने, ये show देखने आओ. And 2016-2017 onwards तो वैसे ही कम हो गया था. I was practically just doing nothing on Twitter. And that was a conscious decision, because even before all this happened, I've been on Twitter since 2009, 2010. So it was great fun then. It was a place where cool people could hang out and make dumb jokes, and it was great fun.
And now it's this troll factory. Yeah.
It turned into something that was making me angry. It was upsetting my mood on a daily basis, and then I found it ridiculous that a social media network could affect my mood, and that was a bit much, because I would wake up, put on Twitter, get angry, going to sleep, I'll look at Twitter, I'll go to sleep angry, and that is too for a social media network to have that influence on my life. Plus, I wasn't learning anything new, I wasn't interacting with any cool people,
everybody, yeah.
And it just became mindless chore, an exercise in futility and anger, and it turned into, man, I don't have the time or the bandwidth to argue with idiots and then sort of try and convince them of my viewpoint and spend all day arting and manually arting and plus oneing and one-upping the guy, वो कुछ बोलेगा, मैं कुछ बोलेगा, वो कुछ बोलेगा, मैं कुछ बोलेगा. ये मेरे पास time नहीं है. I had an office to run, I have a career to make. I don't have time to sit and argue with idiots about who have like unlimited free time.
But speaking of Twitter, I'm sure you saw what happened to Kunal, right? Kunal Kamra. Is that something that I mean, what did you think of it when you first saw that video?
Man, I just all the luck to Kamra, yaar. I have so much respect for what he does. Absolute respect. He's such a good comic. It's not just the fact that he's brave, which is incredible in itself in this day and age, which he is, and it takes a lot of fortitude to do what he does. But he's brave and he's funny. He's just very funny, and it is unjustified what happened to him. And
He's come up with some great jokes after that, yeah, on that. So.
Because comedian अभी करेगा क्या? Jokes ही तो है हमारे पास. Jokes are what will save us. Jokes ही तो करे क्या? वो बैठ के रोएगा क्या? और वो अगर रोएगा ना, वो side तुमको नहीं दिखाएगा. And I don't mean that about Kamra. I mean like anybody. You will always get to see the content side of it. So और अगर रोना भी है ना, तो वो रोना भी हम content में convert करके आपको set में material में देखेंगे, which you can watch in Life is Good.
Thank you so much for being on off screen, and all the best for Life is Good. Everyone should laugh if they didn't laugh hearing this. Thanks, Ashish. Thank you. So that's all for today, and if you like this podcast, do check out more on Apple, Google Podcasts, Savan, Spotify, or on any other platform we're on right now. And please do subscribe to the platform of your choice to keep listening. If you guys have any feedback, you can reach out to me on @nandkumar_27 on Instagram and Twitter, or you can drop me a mail on nandkumar.ramohan@thequint.com. Have a great week and see you next time.